Welcome back, everybody. As you know by now, I'm Wads, and this is MECH. Sign's awesome, isn't it? Anyway, I figured I'd catch up on what happened over the weekend. As you know, the comic book store, which is down where Wreck and Rule roosts, down in New Jersey, had their Energon Edition tournament on Saturday, and I was there. And it was a good time. I got to meet a lot of people I knew, got to meet some new people, and I had a lot of fun. And I didn't win, but I made top 4. So I figured I'd go ahead and catch up on some things. As you can see, my boy Optimus is chilling up here. You'll be seeing him floating around from now on. As you'll notice, the angle here is a little bit different. My camera stand for my phone broke, and then on top of it, I'm moving soon. So a lot of the stuff is torn down, so the room's kind of in disarray. This seemed to be the best layout. Anyway, you're not here to listen to me ramble about all that. You're here to listen to what I was running. Galaxy Prime. And if you need to know, it's more or less the same as the list that Dan was running at the Energon Invitational. The only thing I did is I pulled out the field communicators because I wasn't a huge fan of them. I tried them in testing, and they worked okay, but I ended up putting in sturdy javelins because then Prime could do a little bit of extra direct damage, and that ultimately helped me in the end. And I ended up either 3rd or 4th. I never got to see the final standings on paper. They didn't have them ready by the time I was rolling out. It was getting late. We were all pretty much wrapping up. I left pretty much after getting my prizes and after Jon Palmer got his picture taken, which I'm sure you've all seen by now. He was the one that got the Energon Edition. So big shout out to him. I actually played him twice. I lost to him in the semifinals, and it was a rough match going into Game 3, and I just couldn't bring the juice. It just wasn't enough. But you know what? They were great games, so big props to him. He played hard, and let's go ahead and jump right in. I'm going to tell you all about what I was playing throughout the day. All right. I apologize now if it's a little shaky. Like I said, my camera stand broke, so now I'm shooting most of this by hand, so it's going to be a little shaky here. In the first round, as you can see, I was playing against Jon Palmer, and he was using the 3-wide Jetfire, using the airstrike patrols. You can see using a mixed version, and it ran real strong. I ended up taking Game 1. Then he switched into Thrust for Game 2, which I ended up taking, but then he switched back to the 3-wide and ultimately ended up taking the set. It was a rough match. He played that deck very well, and it ran very good for him today. All right, going into round 2, I ended up playing against Kenney, and he was running the General Optimus with the airstrike patrol, as you can see. Now, I'm not 100% sure if he was running Visper. I think he was. I couldn't remember if he was using Stormcloud or not instead. But anyway, he was playing very aggro, and he ended up going 2-0. Man, I got stomped. It was pretty rough. I couldn't hit a defense flip to save my life in this round. So props to him for playing it real well, and holy crap, did those guys hit hard. All right, going back in, I played RJ from Wreck and Rule. And he was running Captain Jetfire, as you can see, using the 3-wide like what Jon Palmer was using, but he went with a very blue version, which was very defensive and very hard to dig into. This one ended up going to time, just like my first round did. And what happened was when time was called, he had tapped Jetfire, and I had Optimus, and I had, I believe it was Flame War at that point, who still had to go, and I had the sturdy javelin, and it ended up ending the round. So when round 3 started, it just goes by total health pool because of the tiebreakers, and I ended up just taking the set just because I had 1 more health than him at the start of the round. But it was a lot of fun. Holy crap, man. That crew club on Captain Jetfire was making him beefy. It was a really fun match, and I had a lot of fun. All right, going into round 4, as you can see, I was going up against a 3-wide Cars deck, and that being my bread and butter, if you can't tell from the cliff jumper on my mat, that I had an idea of what was coming. I have to apologize. I didn't write down your name. So shout out team, shout out to whoever it was that I was playing. It was a fun round. As you can see, he used Cliff Jumper, Lockdown, and Prowl. And in Game 2, he swapped out Lockdown and swapped in Specialist Sandstorm. And it was so he could take advantage of pinging my specialists on the one side, and then taking advantage of the extra defense on the third side. So it was a fun match. It was an interesting combo to be sure. And cars always run nice and smooth, but in this case, Optimus was just too overwhelming, and I ended up going 2-0, which ended up giving me my second win for the day. All right, going into round 5, I was playing Wreckin' Rules Frenchie, and Anthony was running, as you can see, the orange tanks. Now, I don't have a Lord Megatron for this for this video's purposes, so you'll just have to pretend the general down there is Lord Megatron for now. This one also went to time and ended up going by health pool. I was able to take the first game. The second game, he was just nailing me left and right, especially with Megatron's burn effect. It was doing some big hits, especially once he started getting some of those weapons on there. But ultimately, the round ended up going to me 2-1, and that was it for Swiss. So we'll go ahead and jump into top 8. All right, so going into top 8, oh man, sorry again, I forgot to write down people's names, so I apologize for forgetting some of them. I'll make sure to do a little name stamp over it when I get a chance to write it down, because I have it written down somewhere. I ended up playing against Shockwave in top 8, and this one went 2-1 for me. I ended up taking the win on this one. In game 2, I really kind of biffed it because he had sturdy armor on Shockwave, and I gave up my reprocess for something I really shouldn't have. I don't even remember what it was. And the extra defense it afforded him actually pushed it into game 3 just because I couldn't deliver the goods with Optimus because of that boosted defense. It definitely would have made a difference had I gotten rid of it the 3 turns before, had I not gotten rid of reprocess, sorry. All right, going into top 4, as you can see, I was playing against Jon Palmer for the second time today, and I was kind of dreading it because of the way he pretty much whipped me before. But it was a rough game, and after losing the first game and barely squeaking by on the second game, the third game actually I got him down to just Jetfire, and really it came down to Optimus couldn't pile it on hard enough or fast enough, and the disarm that he played really set me back. It was kind of painful to look at when he played it, and ultimately he ended up taking it, and then he ended up going on and taking the whole thing, as well as the Energon Edition, which was fantastic. So again, huge shout out to him, and it was a good day. I had a lot of fun, and everybody there was awesome. Alright guys, I want to thank you again for coming out here and listening to me. I had a lot of fun this weekend, so I got to give a big shout out to all the players, the guys from Vector Sigma who were there, Mark, Adam, all the guys from Wreckin' Rule, and all the players who I met for the first time, and some of the ones I didn't even get a chance to talk to. You guys all were awesome. I had so much fun. I want to thank the comic book store for hosting this. This event was a lot of fun. The drive out was a little rough in the rain, but it was all worth it because it was so much fun. Like, I can't say that enough. I know I've repeated myself a bunch already. But anyway, good things are coming. Be prepared for a new deck profile to be coming later this week. That's right, Overwhelming Advantage Plains is on its way, finally. You're going to get to see some gameplay as well as the deck profile. And remember, you guys are awesome, so keep being awesome. And last but not least, you all know to make sure to make every card hurt!